Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN. Today, we're going to try and give you the quick, down and dirty, and highly efficient and effective overview of Kingdom stats. And today, it's going to be the G2 Kingdom pool that's going to be heading into the most upcoming KvK season, where they can choose between Rise of the Dragon or Calling of Courage. So we're going to show you a bunch of Kingdom stats. We'll show you rankings. We'll show you statuses. We'll show you player merits. We got some new columns to show you. We'll show you the power tier breakdowns, all the good jazz, and more. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up, because that was a lot. Thanks. Okay, so all of the kingdoms here in pre-war, if you were to go online, in-game, you zoom all the way out, go to season overview, click season of strife, pre-war, all the kingdoms here are the ones that are in the most recent or the current KvK kingdom pool. Let me show you some numbers here, because again, that's why pretty much everyone's here. And I will get to some disclaimers here in a moment, but I'm going to do that before we get to the next tab, so make sure you do listen to that. However, I will get at least one out of the way right now, which is that, yes, I will be making this sheet publicly available. It is going to end up being on the Discord. You're going to find that where you usually find it, which is once you join the Discord, link to that in the pinned comment description down below. You'll go to reaction roles. You'll select CallofDragons, which is going to be the one that has the most amount of reactions here. You'll select CallofDragons category. If it doesn't pop out, just click the header. Go to COD data stats, and I'm going to update it. I'll update it. I'm going to put it right here. So you'll be able to access that for those of you that would like to view. Again, we always like to make as much information publicly available to the community, so that way things are done a little bit more objectively and transparently, if you will, at least to the best of our abilities. Okay, let's start getting into the stuff that just makes me feel alive, is stats. So if you are looking, we have total kingdoms 321. Previous season, which was last season, that was for War of the Last Snows, 273. So we have a plus 48 more kingdoms in this season, or in this kingdom pool, than last. That's great. It's more people. Hopefully that means more opportunities for registrations. However, that really wasn't the case for the main KvK storyline this time around. Despite Rise of the Dragon being overwhelmingly the community favorite season, at least out of, I would argue, pretty much all the seasons thus far, I think it's pretty easy to say this has been the one that has the most amount of potential and opportunity. It's not to say that we're rating it a 10 out of 10. It does have some opportunities in and of itself for improvements. But out of all the seasons I've seen so far, this is, I think, by far the best one. And to see that we had 210 registrations, which is, again, a great number, it ties the amount that registered for War of the Last Snows, because we ended up getting more than double the amount of registrations for the secondary storyline. Don't worry, we're going to call out the kingdoms and give some for shame to them, unless we get a really good explanation, of course, which, again, they're more than welcome to let us know. But again, we always have to give equal shame thrown out, especially for any kingdoms that were strong enough to participate in the main KvK storyline or the favorited one that particular season. In this case, it's a no-brainer that it was going to be Rise of the Dragon. So we'll see if I remember to, bell for shame people walking like Cersei Lannister. With that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at some numbers. We're just going to go right to the goods. So this is, let me get some disclaimers out of the way. Number one is that migration points, and basically all the data, I should say about 95% of the data was pulled on the 30th. Some of it was pulled evening of the 29th, but majority of it is on the 30th. With the exception of the 250 and 300 power players, that was pulled yesterday on the 31st. And then for kingdoms that had at least 10 billion power or more, I just pulled that before this video, so that was done today on the 1st, where I updated it. So if the kingdom had more than a billion power change, whether that was a plus or minus from the 30th, when I pulled all the data first, up until today, then I just updated their power. But again, I will be doing another full update on this either Thursday or Friday of this week, because we will be streaming on Friday when the groups are announced. So that'll happen maybe an hour or two before reset. And I'll be sure to put a scheduled stream out in the morning, and we'll do another big announcement for that. But if you guys want that, we had a massive, there was a lot of people that tuned in last time when we were there, because we basically had all the data. So we just plugged everything immediately to start looking at the matchup. So we'll do the same thing again and hopefully be just as prepared. But going left to right, we have status. That's just activity status, normal, active, crowded, full. Keep in mind, we only pulled data for kingdoms that were at active, crowded, or full status, not normal this time around, because it just would have been a lot of work. And just to give you an idea, just to do everything here for those 3 kingdom statuses, which totals to about, I think it was like 103, 110 kingdoms, it took me like 5 or 6 hours because I had to manually do everything. And that's just because I'm waiting for Fuzzy to kind of get everything back up and running to where I can start getting consistent game-wide scans, which eventually we will, but we just have to be patient a little bit longer, and eventually those will start coming back through to us. MP is migration points. We have reg, which is registration. Did they skip or not? There'll be an X or no X. 1B plus. This is basically we go into a kingdom and we add up for a sum total of all the alliances that are at least at 1 billion power or more. This is important because, one, the way that the power is calculated, that is one of the factors that goes into your KvK kind of MMR rating, is the way they do it, that was most recently stated, is they do it where all the player accounts in a kingdom are added for a sum total of power. So even if you have, a 7, 8, 20 million power account, as long as it's on the map, by the time registration ends, you will get calculated into the kingdom power for one of the factors that goes in. Now that may change going forward, but that's just the way that it is now. So then we have KD merits. This is kingdom merits. So what was the merit performance? What was the PvP performance of the kingdom last season? And then we have 5M, 10, 15, 20. This is million merits. So this is how many players achieved 5, 10, 15, 20 million merits last season. And then 60P is for power. So 60, 80, 100, 125, 150, 200, 250, 300 million. How many players are at that power or above? Okay. Let's get into it. So you can see here, oh, look, 106. So we were close. I said 103, 110. So we 106 kingdoms that we pulled for. Now, keep in mind, some of the kingdoms that you're going to see on here, if they are normal, that means that their activity status changed. Initially, it was active, right? So it wasn't like we started with 103 and went to 106. We've been at 106. The only difference is that I've gone back through this, and some kingdoms went from normal to active. Some kingdoms went from active to normal. I think it was. I don't know if any went from normal to active. I think it was only going down from my recollection. However, if we end up missing one, at least, again, based on when registration finished, then we'll be sure to update that. But at least for now, this is what we got. Okay, hang on, let me see where I was at real quick. 106. This is just, again, for those of you who want to, pause if you want to take a look at where it is. Oops, hang on, let me move my face. I know, I'm going to get some grief for that one. Let's go back down. I'll pause here for a moment. No, little Jeopardy song. And again, we'll kind of work our way up. And I'm going to show you guys this in a couple different tiers too as well. We're going to do a couple different sorting options. But again, I'm just going to, do quick little 5-second pauses or so, just because I imagine most people will probably, if you want to take a look at this more in depthly, right, you can pause it. Otherwise, we'll have it available on the sheet too as well. But we just kind of want to get to some of the goodies. My goodies. Hey. Okay. 30. Okay, so we're getting close now. So I think it's only going to show the top 20. So we're going to, there we go. We'll go here. I'm going to pause for a sec, and then we'll show you the top 20 kingdoms at the moment. Okay, so here we go. So we got starting bottom up, MFD, 21SW, Apex, NWE, ASI, IWG, 30NA, FG, ROG, WAO, RFF, A2G, BTX, FWY, 25IL, Rage, NTS, Echo, WBA, and EIS that we have rounding out your top 20. Now, again, this is being sorted based on power that you can see here for that. I'm going to do a couple just kind of highlight sorts here real quick so you guys can kind of see. We'll do next one based on merits so you guys can see that. And then again, a couple place changes here. You can see we got 17 kingdoms at 3 billion merits or more. We got 6 kingdoms at 4 billion merits or more. And again, EIS was close to hitting 5 bill. Let's go ahead and do another quick sort. This time we will do 10 million merits. So how many players achieved at least 10 million merits last season? Top of the board here is going to be RFF, 198. I mean, that's pretty nutty, right? You got 189, 86. So you had 18 kingdoms had 140 players or more. 16 kingdoms had 150 or more. 11 kingdoms had 160 or more. 6 kingdoms had 170 or more. Was that 4 had 180 or more? Then only 1 kingdom had 190. So almost 200 players had accumulated 10 million merits or more. I mean, that's pretty wild. All right, let's look at 20 million now as we just go through some of these sorts pretty quick-a-mundo. So now we get some more changes that are happening. So now we're looking at 20 million, right? So how many players accumulated 20 million merits last season or more? As we work our way up, right? 20 kingdoms, you can see here, next one was 39. 20 kingdoms had 40 players that accumulated 20 million merits or more. We had 12 kingdoms at 50 players, 8 kingdoms at 60, 6 kingdoms at 80, 5 at 90, and then 4 at 100 plus, with only 1 breaking 110, that being EIS. Nuts. Okay, let's look at 100 million power. So this is, again, how many players that are at 100 million power or more. So we have at the top here, Echo, EIS, WBA, Rage, NTS, ROG. Okay, maybe a group. However, what's the range? So 92 to 178. So this is a plus 86 differential here, right? At the 100 mil range. You have, again, close. Little drop off here of 8 between Rage and NTS. Another drop off of 7 between NTS and ROG. Okay, close. Plus 15 differential between A2G and REC. Plus 5. You get a plus 7 here. Okay, not too bad. And then you get a plus 18 drop between TFS and Apex. And then close. Then you get a 6 between BNR and F57. Okay. But again, 170 to 92, I mean, it's pretty wide. Okay. Let's take a look at 150 is what we're going to look at now. 150, not a lot of change. However, 103 to 10, that's a plus 93 differential. On top of which, you have Echo at 103, EAS 71, that's plus 32, right? That's almost a third more, 150 mil plus than the second place. And then you got a plus 12 between EIS and BTX, close. And you got a plus 16 between WBA and NTS, close. And then plus 8 between ROG and Apex. It's just interesting to look at. You know what I mean? All right, let's take a look at 200 mil. And then there you go. So here, Echo, EIS, Rage, BTX. I mean, plus 6 drop off between Echo, EIS, plus 8 between EIS, Rage. Range is 3 to 6, so it's a plus 33 differential from number 1 to 20. And then you get close, plus 5 drop off between BTX, WBA, plus 4 drop off between OMG, WAO, and then it's kind of close. You got some 2s here. Oh, Lord, excuse me. But nothing massive, right, as you kind of get lower. And then I guess the last one we can look at here would maybe be the, let's look at 300, right, for those of you who just want to look at the big numbers. So you got WBA at 9, EIS 8, Echo 6. So he's got a plus 2, right? And then another plus 2 between BTX, Rage. And then it's all kind of close. But 0 to 9 is what you have in the 300 mil range. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of moolah power, if you feels me. Okay, let's make sure we do not forget to shame people. And by shaming, I mean just making it publicly aware for people that did not register for ROTD, which is going to be Kingdom 300 and ASI. Now, again, I don't know what's going on here in 300. What I do know, however, is that they were at about 22 billion power, right? So I look at that and I think to myself, okay, that's not awful. I mean, yeah, maybe the merits are a little bit lower for being there in the top 20. Okay. You have, again, maybe some lower than average amounts of participation. And again, maybe that's what it was. Like if you look at their numbers across the board, it's kind of like BB's numbers at 45, right? These are pretty close here. If you look at these and you comparing, this isn't too far off, right? But they're a little bit less power than you, but they still register for ROTD. So I don't know about that one. And again, similar situation, like they don't have anyone at 150. You guys have the same amount of people at 125. But again, you know, we don't know the inner workings. All I'm saying is I just wouldn't have expected that from a nearly 22 billion power kingdom, right? So again, for me, that's the first one. The next COC, let's see where they are. I don't know how far I'm going to go down. Here we go. So next COC is going to be here at 102. Now again, they're like half the power there of ASI at 11.2, but still, you know, there's plenty of other alliances that registered that are around them, and others that have some similar numbers to them too as well. Again, you know, why the swap? But again, that's SN from 102. Next one was 161 GDW. And then we had 197 MFS. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Then we had some skips. Oh, wow. Is that all? Okay. Yeah. The POTU skip, Mel skip. DBB went from active to normal. And then, yeah, I guess that's what we got right there. So again, just a few, right, that were active or higher in their activity status. So yeah, that's where we're at. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Anything you'd like for us to add, maybe adjust, other things you'd like to look at, let me know. And hopefully you guys can enjoy perusing through some data, and we'll be sure to try and get this out to you guys as soon as we can. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.